ain't gonna lie, folks. I feel like Evel Knievel. Hey, after the last video, I feel like Evel Knievel. Containment broke just a hell of a lot sooner than I thought it would in the comment section. I posted that video late at night thinking there'd be some sort of grace period, and there was for like just 30 minutes, and then just all hell broke loose in the comments. I haven't looked at the comment section since. With that said, though, after dropping that tier list, I'm tapping out, man. I'll catch y'all in Star Rail for the Xianzhou in 2.3. Speaking of decibel numbers, however, you guys remember the last decibel number I threw at you guys? 0.024%. To represent the odds of me losing 8 50-50s in a row, combined with losing 2 75-25s in a row. That all happened in one period. So you can imagine my surprise when I pulled for Firefly thinking there's no way in hell I lose my 8th 50-50 in a fucking row. But oh, what do you know? Yeah, well, I said the next time this number would be updated is when I pulled for Genshin in Wuthering Waves. Well, that time has come, my friends. What are we thinking? Did I win a 50-50 for the first time since January? Or did I go on to lose? And at this point, it would pretty much be me making history, losing my 9 50-50s fucking row.
To strike.
Hey, Woolies, make some room. I want to look, see? Oh, Black Shore's member, Uncle Rip.
I mean, whatever. No, I'm chilling, bro. A lot of you guys sent out prayers to me following the Firefly banner. A lot of fucking Satanists among us, evidently. I didn't, or you guys just missed, because I didn't receive a single one, evidently. I don't even know what to say. Obviously, I was pissed in the clip and sent my keyboard straight to the Shadow Realm. Anyway, the number is now 0.0122%. This number represents the odds of me losing 9 50-50s in a row, combined with losing 2 75-25s in a row. I haven't won shit since the Shenyun banner again in January. You know what's fucked? The most amount of 50-50s I've ever won in a row is 4. That's it. And that was back around the time when Zhongli first re-ran. Okay. That is 3 50-50. Where's the... I need the communism music. Anyway, I've since dropped Wuthering Waves following this because, I mean, clearly it's just not meant to be. If you lose your first 2 50-50s on a new game, I'm just taking that as a sign from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to stop playing the game. Star Rail, for instance, was different. Yeah, I lost a 50-50 for the Zila banner when she first came out, but you know what happened? The very next banner, I became the world record holder for the fastest acquisition of Jin Yuan. Literally within like 30 seconds of his banner going live, I did 110 pull, and this happened. The other times, I showed too much emotion. I was too visceral. That's what led me to lose 5 50-50s in a row. But this time, I'm gonna be stone faced. I'm gonna be stone cold. I'm not gonna show any emotion. We're just gonna vibe. That, and it is what it is. It is what it is, man. The first one. Please. I said before, man. Just please. I haven't won a 50-50 in 5, so please. See, my friends, that's the sign of a beautiful new partnership between oneself and a new game. If a game doesn't make you squeal like a little bitch, it's not the game for you. Well, I guess we'll see if my luck changes when I pull for Ellen Joe next week. Surely I don't lose a 10th 50-50 in a row. Also, Zenless Zone Zero comes out on the 4th. Isn't that weird? Who the fuck's gonna be inside the house on that day? Fireworks, cookouts, Mihail's gonna be down a whole nation for the release of this game, but what do I know? Anyway, topic of this video. That was a lengthy ass intro. With the Imaginarium theater, with the theater patch coming out very, very soon, the hexenzirkel lore will soon be among us. I naturally couldn't help myself from going over, you know, refreshing my nogger on the topic regarding the Coven, whereby I found myself rewatching their cutscene and noticed this interesting scene.
Ever heard of the Hexenzirkel? As the spooky name suggests, it's a secret society. Once upon a time, it even challenged the animal Archon himself.
The entire Coven of Witches wanted to challenge old Barbatos, huh? Interesting. I don't know who this says more about. I mean, either Barbatos was once as cracked as he wasn't jacked, or the Hexenzirkel decided the fucking, like, 7 of them were We're now finally able to rival one god. Anyway, I wanted to hone in on Barbatos and his strength because there's been a lot of dialogue surrounding this topic. A lot of people simply aren't content with the idea of Venti being the weakest Archon due to the seemingly contradictory statements from two different Archons regarding what makes up an Archon's strength.
By the way, there's something I need to confess. Even though I'm the Archon and in control of myself again, I'm not very good at fighting. You may have heard that an Archon's power is derived from their people's faith. However, I'm not as well loved as Greater Lord Rukkhadevata.
Each Archon presides over their own part of Teyvat. That is the role the Archons play. Only in performing this duty can we attain power. But I don't like the idea of ruling Mondstadt, and I don't feel Mondstadt would really like it either. I haven't been back to Mondstadt for an extended period of time. Without a doubt, I am now the weakest Archon among the 7.
I don't know. These statements don't really sound like they go against one another, but fuck it, we'll just address it later. For now, we'll just roll with it, though. There's a couple of ways people go about defending the notion that Barbatos isn't the weakest, and one of these is actually, well, I shouldn't say correct, but I agree with it, and it's Venti's inaction when getting his Gnosis boinked. Look, at the end of the day, weakest Archon or not, in this very scene, not only is Venti still a god, he still has his Gnosis and is thus still an Archon. On his persons, no less. It's not like that his Gnosis is somewhere else. There simply isn't a chance in hell number 8 here can defeat a god, because if that's the case, the game is done, okay? Nahida said the top 3 Harbingers can rival the Archons, not the fucking top 8. If this is Venti's true and tried best effort to defend himself, let's be honest, Capitano's gonna 1v9 in the endgame. At this point, if this is what we're doing, because this nigga's about to just be Pope at the end of the fucking game, if number 8 here can defeat a god. So yeah, I agree with the sentiments that Venti fixed the match. You know, he took a dive. He engaged in some acts of tomfoolery. It is what it is. Other arguments, however, get quite a bit more suspect. People will often bring up his impressive past accolades, which includes slicing mountaintops and reshaping the land. Mona tells us, quote, I once read somewhere that the Anemo Archon Barbatos once used his divine power to mobilize the winds and blow the ice and snow from the face of the earth. The whole landscape of Mondstadt was changed in the process. The squirrel on the Golden Apple Archipelago also tells us, quote, don't you know, some of these islands used to be Mondstadt's mountaintops. Once upon a time, the Anemo Archon sliced them off to neaten the place up and chucked them into the ocean. Furthermore, much like his predecessor, Barbatos was once even said to have some control over the weather. Paimon informs us, quotes, people say that when Barbatos made this land, he used the storm to flatten the cliffs and valleys. However, he not only had control of the weather in the area, but the climates as well. Quote, on the contrary, say, if Barbatos had not guided the warm monsoons to Mondstadt with his divine powers, would Mondstadt still be so bountiful as to produce the brews that it does? So again, keep in mind, monsoons aren't like hurricanes in that they're short-term weather-related events. They're long-term sustained climate patterns that over a long period of time will alter the environment in a way a hurricane cannot due to the difference in lifespan. It's because of these monsoons Barbatos brought to Mondstadt, it became a fertile land, ripe for people to use. Now, yes, these are impressive feats. The problem with this argument, however, is these feats are all in the past, in the way past, when Barbatos was just coming off the heels of the Archon War and rebuilding Mondstadt with Gnosis in hands. And not only did he have Gnosis in hands, more importantly, he was present. Faith was at an all-time high, and as the earlier statement from Nahida confirms, this is part of what gives an Archon power, so it makes sense then that Barbatos in the past would be able to perform these powerful shows of strength. However, Barbatos then did something interesting. He disappeared. He didn't want to rule, so he left the people to their own devices, and in turn, faith in him, even belief in his existence, dwindled over the millennia. But wait, some of you might be going, Mondstadt has a church dedicated to their Archon, so surely they must be the most pious nation. Doubtful. The Knights of Favonia's handbook literally writes, quote, the Anemo Archon Barbatos is the god of wind and song, the grantor and guardian of Mondstadt's freedom, and the one in whom the people of this land place their faith. As an organization, the Knights of Favonius heeds the will of the Anemo Archon. This means that we must be prepared to go to war in the event that Mondstadt's freedom comes under threat. Note, need to add additional material on this item. Several members of the Knights of Favonius and even the church seem to not have any belief in the Anemo Archon at all. It's not a good sign when, who should be your most zealous followers don't believe in you. Furthermore, this church has never always been a symbol of peace and hope that people make it out to be. Quote, a holy place managed by the devoted adherents of the Anemo Archon. It was once a palatial estate from which the aristocracy flaunted their authority. So yeah, I mean, poor showing out of the Church of Favonius. At least in Nahida's case, the people knew she existed. They just assumed, she was a fucking house nigga and just lets the sages rule Sumeru. In Venti's case, the belief in him, period, started to wane the moment he vanished. This isn't real life, guys. People's faith, people don't have faith in the unseen. Some do, sure, but in a world where gods will show themselves in a manner that can be seen by all, a god being absent will lead those who never saw them to draw one of two conclusions. A, that's God is dead, or B, that's God never existed at all. And this is the boat Barbatos is in. By his own statement, he never ruled, so he's the weakest. By Nahida's own statement, faith is what adds to an Archon's power. And given we know faith in Barbatos wanes even amongst the church that's dedicated to him, then yeah, I'd say there's a pretty good chance Barbatos is currently the weakest of the 7. Or it's 6 now, huh? Can't be weaker than a dead bitch.